This is Tessa Keogh, and thanks for joining me today for another Tuesday's tip. Every day this month we'll have a tip, whether it's a post with images, or a video, all to celebrate Family History Month during October, my favorite month. Today we'll focus on deleted record identification numbers, otherwise known as RINs. First things first, do you use RINs or marriage record identification numbers, otherwise known as MRINs? Do you include them on your various screens? Do you use them with your filing system? Do you use them with reports and charts? Or are you one of those researchers who uses a different numbering system? Or, heaven forbid, no numbering system? It came as a total shock to me when I learned that many researchers do not use record identification numbers or marriage record identification numbers. Since I started doing my family history about 8 years ago, I began with a genealogy database program as the framework for my data, and RINs and MRINs are available in all the genealogy database programs. It's the main way I keep track of all my Murphys and Keoghs, as well as everyone else, as we tend to have lots of Marys and Margarets, Andrews and James, because my family's followed those Irish Catholic naming patterns for many generations. Whether you use RINs or not, they are assigned by legacy and a part of your database. You can choose to have them not show, but they're still there in the background. For all of us, whether we make use of RINs or not, the only question in customization is whether we want to reuse RINs or renumber particular RINs or all of our RINs. Let's learn what's involved, why you might want to reuse or renumber RINs, and how to do it. But I'll warn you, this is one of those genealogy database lines in the sand. It's lumpers versus splitters, or those who renumber RINs versus those who don't. If you want to learn how to use your legacy program, or you have any questions, we all know that our first action is to click on the Help tab found in so many places in Legacy. I tend to click on the Help icon from the toolbar, but it also shows up in any action or feature that you might be using. From the Help icon, simply type in the keyword Deleted RINs, and up pops Customize, Data Defaults. As you can see, choosing whether to reuse RINs in the first instance and as a general matter is a choice made in customization. In Section 4.4 of the Customize Data Defaults, Legacy states that when records are deleted from a family file, think that individual or family you added as a GEDCOM, or included because of a shaky leaf that you later learned doesn't belong in your family tree. Once you delete the individual or family, you have some RINs that are no longer being used. When you take a look at your name list or your marriage list, you'll notice some holes or unused numbers. Legacy calls these abandoned numbers, and Legacy gives you the choice to put these numbers back in the game or permanently bench them. A quick reminder that you can find the Customize feature by clicking on the Options tab in the Legacy toolbar and choosing Customize. Customize Legacy is one of my favorite features because I like to choose my colors, fonts, and word choices and go through all the settings to make Legacy look and work the way I want. Here we're at Item 4, Data Defaults, and in particular 4.4, when adding new records. FF stands for Family File rather than a customization that is GBL or Global, and you can simply check or uncheck the Reuse Abandoned RINs. As you can see, I have not checked the box because I do not reuse deleted or abandoned RINs. A complete explanation of renumbering RINs and MRINs is contained in the Legacy Help file, and as you can see, there might be instances where you want to renumber RINs or MRINs to keep your numbers consistent with no holes, or when you have done a merge of files and want to renumber your RINs, and this is where it gets a bit more involved. The explanation follows for renumbering individuals, or RINs, and you have three choices. First, to renumber a current RIN number to one of your choosing. Second, to fill missing RINs from a pre-selected RIN. You choose the starting number. And third, to fill missing RINs with all those abandoned RINs, basically to get rid of the holes. Those same choices are available for marriage RINs. If you decide to use any of these renumbering options, I encourage you to create a log file of all the changes made, and Legacy provides you with that option. So, how do you find the renumbering feature? Click on Tools on the Legacy toolbar, and in the Family File Tools box, select Renumber RINs or MRINs. As you can see, you click on whichever item is your choice and fill in the number you want to use. Make sure the Log All Changes is checked and click Apply. If you're unsure of anything, you can check out the Help tab or cancel to end the operation. In my database, I include the RIN information on the various screens. They're shown on the name list, and I use the RINs and MRINs with my computer and paper filing systems. As you can see, my James J. Murphy RIN number 352 and MRIN number 10 has an 1870 census, an 1880 census, and 2 homestead documents. With my naming and filing system, I use the person's name, their RIN, their MRIN, if applicable, the year, and the name of the document. Each of us have our own filing systems, and what works for one person might not work for another. But I've found that by using the RINs and MRINs, I can easily find anything I have for my people on my computer. Using the Windows search feature brings up everything for James Murphy with a RIN of 352 in any document where he appears. In the Family view, I can easily see the RINs and MRINs for James and Ellen as well as their children, for the quick bookmarks, and for the husband, marriage, and wife in whichever family is front and center in the Family view. On the Individual view, the person's RIN is shown at the top of the screen. Note that you also have the ability to include additional numbering systems, a user ID, an AFN, and the Family Search ID. I'll leave it to you to play with those yourself. Just check out the Help section and input those terms as keywords. The same is true for my Pedigree view. You can see each of the RINs following the names, as well as my Index view. Whether used with the name list, a real help as we have individuals with the same given and middle name, or the marriage list, having the identification numbers is a huge help. As you can see, we have lots of James Murphys who get married and have families. I also like to be able to see the MRINs and the RINs in my chronology reports. And if you configure your reports with a feature, you can include the RINs in any of your report indexes. I even use my RINs and MRINs with my Legacy charting software, and that's included on the icon in My Toolbar. Simply choose Appearance from the charting toolbar, select Box Items tab, and check the box to include reference number. And the RIN shows up in front of the individual's name. So as you can see, I use my RINs and MRINs both in my Legacy database, with my filing, with my narrative reports, and with my charting. When I correspond with another researcher, my screenshots include the RIN if it relates to the individual, or the MRIN if it relates to the family. I also include either RINs or MRINs in my personal family blogs, so there's no mistaking which James Murphy we're talking about. I don't give my RINs or my MRINs a second thought. They're assigned by the Legacy program, and I don't change them. I don't renumber or reuse them, and I don't care if there's holes in the numbering. I also don't import other people's files or GEDCOMs into my database, so I don't run into the problems some do on importing files. And when I do find duplicates, and we all will sooner or later, I have no problem merging and knowing that I now have an unused RIN or MRIN. That said, how do you want your Legacy database to look? Does having consecutive numbers with no holes make a difference to you? Then take advantage of the ability to renumber and/or reuse RINs and MRINs in Legacy. That's the beauty of Legacy. It's flexible enough to work for each of us as we choose. Thanks for joining us each day during the month of October, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for the letter E.